What's up, guys? Marcus here with BlackOvis. I am here in Bozeman, Montana at SITKA, here with Jim Saubier, the product manager of the waterfowl category, and he's going to be walking us through a little bit of education on the waterfowl category, how to build a kit, how to build a SITKA system within the waterfowl section.
Just like with the rest of our categories and pursuits, really the foundation starts with a base layer. So as we get further through the system, as we start to build out, but even in an early system, I'm going to use a core lightweight, on my top. I might, as it gets deeper into the season, I might add a heavy or a merino for my bottom, but always I'm starting with, on my top, core lightweight, synthetic base layer against the skin. And I think the biggest mistake that people make way up early on is wearing inappropriate materials next to skin, cotton, things that hold moisture. No matter what you build out in the rest of your system, you start out with this fail.
Yeah.
And so it makes it really hard to overcome. Different base layers as I move through the system. Certainly, depending on how I'm going about it, I might wear the hoodie. It gives me a little extra protection. I can put that hood up early on, but
now,
one or the other.
Does the hood help you early on with bugs and stuff like that?
It can certainly help to keep bugs off your ears, but usually it's in the morning when that it's just a little bit chilly, and it just gives me that little bit of protection and coverage.
Okay.
And certainly, in the other pursuits, you get concealment with the face mask. If I'm in a ground blind, layout blind, having my head covered and my face blends in much nicer than, not. On the bottoms, pretty exciting. We got our new pant. This is the lightest weight waterfowl pant, the new Traverse pant in marsh and timber. Great product, great proven material, and really works well as that early season for waterfowl. So Traverse pant.
Let's say you're using the Delta Zip wader. Would you be wearing these underneath?
I would not wear these underneath the waders.
Okay.
I try, in terms of wearing waders, most of the time I am wearing a gradient pant.
Okay.
So that's sort of my softest fleece, unless it's really hot. And if it's really hot and early and warm, and then I might just do a base layer bottom. The two pants that I use most of the time are will be the Traverse for that early season. The Grinder's going to do most of the work, for me through a season. I can put base layers, heavy base layers, the wool base layers, and really get deep into the season as I pair this up with some other styles that we'll talk about.
What about the Grinder do you like so much?
Gosh, the Grinder has just proven to be such an incredible, durable, comfortable pant. So, it is a four-way stretch woven nylon, has great give. The DWR performance is great, so if you get dog splash or anything on it, it sheds right off. And this nylon textile is just bulletproof. It just does so well and wears so well. I mean, I have Grinder pants that I might wear several times a week, for years, and they're just still going. So it's just a remarkable pant in terms of the comfort partnered with that durability.
And when you start to think about seasonality of these pants, what's the range?
With a base layer, I can, because you build out a system and I add my layers, but I can start pretty early. The Traverse that I just showed is a little bit lighter weight, but the Grinder has these mesh pocket, so I can vent, and really early season, this is still a very comfortable pant.
How late season would you take
Late
this?
season, I would wear this, depending on how I build out with a Hudson and a base layer, it might be pretty late. Montana gets real cold, so at that point I might go to a Dakota.
Okay.
I might go to even a gradient, stacked in. This is our Grinder. We actually have this in a hooded version. What you get here is a heavyweight style layer, and this for me is an intermediate layer. It has a coating, so it provides great water protection and abrasion protection, and does well in that regard. a little different than some of our other styles. With that coating, you get a little bit of weather protection, a little bit of splash and rain, and that light protection. So
Awesome.
But it's a, you know, it's a fleece, and it gives me a little bit of loft as I start to build up. Very versatile piece. You're going to see I'll have my lightweight, and then I might have this. So the next versatile piece, yes, is a Dakota vest. I can put this on in most of my systems, certainly through mid-late season. It gives wind stopper, soft shell protection to my core. Okay, so I don't need it in the arms. I maintain mobility. I have my arms free, and it really just gives that extra protection. You know, that has my high hand pockets, so as I'm, you know, laying in my layout blind, I still have these pockets I can tuck in. Zip pockets too, so you can secure stuff. Not going to lose it, or if you want to put your hands in there as well. But great piece as I build out through the system. Almost all the time I will have a Dakota, you know, with me.
Yeah. And I imagine that wind stopper is pretty helpful too when you're static. If it gets windy, I mean, that's one of the fastest ways to lose heat. So that can definitely be a big plus.
Yep, and for that early morning where you're still driving a lot and setting decoys and really active, you know, you're able to maintain your core temperature, but air and moisture movements just exceptional.
Gotcha.
So great piece. And then now I'm going to get into two types of insulation. So depending on how what I'm doing, where I'm hunting, our new Traverse hoodie, if you will, this is new for fall 22. Will replace the Gradient hoodie and the Gradient.
Yep.
So, you know, very similar in terms of textile. This is a fleece, so it's compression resistant. Has a DWR, has a great durable knit face with this fleece backer. So super comfortable to wear.
Definitely one of the most comfortable jackets I've ever put on from SITKA.
Yeah, it partners really well with the Waterfowl Pursuit. We don't necessarily have to pack in a whole bunch of stuff. I'll talk about, you know, lofted insulation, but for versatility, just a tremendous piece and value in the system. As I talked about, compression resistant fleece, so that's, you know, it's going to maintain its
volume,
its loft even under compression, especially for our wader pant. You know, as I layer there, you get compression from the water, much different than a lofted insulation. So this is the Kelvin Aerolite. I'm showing it here in black. It's also offered in some other colors, a lead and a coyote, I believe, is the other color that does great with waterfowl. This is something that I can pack. So talk about versatile. This is a little more specialized, but I get a PrimaLoft aerogel cross-core style insulation. I can pack this pretty small and put it in my blind bag. I always like to keep one of these in my pack, especially as it gets later in the season. To me, it's just one of those things. It's small enough I can fit in there, but it will let me get through one of those really cold
I was going to
months.
ask you, what's a scenario in which you would take this and leave the now Traverse hoodie?
I would take this on a hunt later in the season where I might pack it. It's kind of like my insurance. The Gradient is comfortable, moves moisture, and does a great job, you know, for wearing it. Like if I had to pack it, it's not so great. Our most versatile outerwear piece, and I think one that lots of hunters new to SITKA are introduced to the brand through this Dakota hoodie. One of the first pieces actually I developed, you know, way back when. Provides wind stopper protection. With a pullover, I get a full pocket, super fleece lined, lofty and comfortable, and really the versatility. So if I pick this piece, I might use this instead of the Gradient, instead of some of these other pieces. As I get late in the year, you know, I might, you know, go to a Hudson and things, but man, I see people wearing Dakotas in a lot of different scenarios, and it's a great piece.
And what would make you choose the Dakota over the Traverse hoodie? Or vice versa?
Yeah, so the wind stopper protection. So certainly a game changer in having wind stopper, and in this version, I'm still able to get some stretch in this wind stopper, so it's still very comfortable. But yeah, I would say in the early season, if I'm trying to go as a minimalist and I'm going to wear, outerwear, and
you might have some harsh conditions, wind, water.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So just a really versatile piece that provides a lot of value. It's really exceptional in that regard. And then as I go, I'm going to talk about 2 jackets. The first one I'm going to talk about is our Delta wading jacket. This is a Pro Shell. This is our best Gore-Tex laminate that's available. Durable, breathable, the most extreme. So when we think about Pro Shell, it's extreme. It is a 3-layer laminate, so there is no insulation. It's a shell.
It's a shell.
Yep. So in a true system building scenario, this locks it in. Okay, so I would have my base layer, I'd have a mid layer, and then I'd have this. Or early season, if it's going to rain and I need rain protection, this provides that sort of versatility.
Okay.
So very thin, breathes well, great hood. I'm able to really get a lot of shelter if conditions are tough. And with the proper layering, very versatile. I can run this through almost every scenario.
Pit zips as well, dump heat like that in the early season.
Yeah.
If there's rain coming in, but it's still warm temperatures, great feature there as well.
Yes, fully featured shell with all the pockets, our high hand pockets, pit zips, the works. Cargo style pockets, you can fit gloves, a whole box of shells. All of those things really help.
My one question would be, how is the stretch? I mean, how is your movement when you're pulling that gun up, when you're moving out of your blind a little bit?
Yep. So in terms of a Pro Shell, there's no stretch panels. As we talk about the Hudson, you will see stretch panels. Certainly, one of the things that that we do in terms of fit really help. So we have built-in articulation and fit that help to make it very, very user-friendly.
Okay, paneling down the arms. Is there anything specific about that?
Yeah, so this is just abrasion-resistant overlays, and this material really helps in a lot of waterfowl scenarios. Could be a blind, could be concrete, could be those kinds of things. And so from there, I think it would be a terrible miss not to talk about the Hudson.
Oh yeah.
So any waterfowl hunter in a field scenario, we'll talk about water scenario, but in a field scenario, the Hudson is our absolute workhorse in terms of protection and just the form factor of a bib that waterfowlers have celebrated forever. These actually happen to be a women's. So this is a women's Hudson and a women's jacket and bib, which is a great time to mention. We have an entire collection, a system, soup to nuts for women waterfowler hunters.
Totally.
They can build out a great system, including this Hudson jacket and bib. What we see here, as you mentioned earlier, you asked about stretch. We have stretch panels. This is still Gore-Tex. These stretch panels are built in so that I get that comfort, in a shooting scenario. Really helps to increase mobility.
I imagine some intricate engineering went into figuring out how to keep that stretch and the Gore-Tex water repellent and breathable.
Yeah, so it's just a great technology, and it's utilized in some other military and special forces and law enforcement operations where they're able to do, they need that stretch for body armor and different things. And it's mapped inside, so I get stretch insulation inside just across that back panel so that I get true movement where I need it.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
it's more than just the shell.
Yeah.
It was actually pretty involved there. Got a Primaloft insulation package.
And you've got 4 pockets on the outside, 2 zip, and you've got little hand warmer pockets high up on the chest.
Absolutely. Similar pocketing that we saw in the Delta. When you think of Hudson, you think of versatile, you think of being able to go deep in the season, whereas the Delta is a shell. And needs to be leveraged with other pieces. So.
I almost think of the Hudson as, it is such a huge piece for in the field type of waterfowl hunting. I almost think of it as the Jetstream.
Yeah.
Because the Jetstream in the big game category, you can do a lot with it. There's so many bells and whistles with that. And just like this, there are a lot of bells and whistles that make this jacket so versatile.
Absolutely. And then on the bottom side we have this bib, full water resistant side zips, laminate packages mapped through this. So we've got, shell type 3-layer laminate in the bottom, so we're not wicking up the leg, because lots of times you're in these wet fields, and then we've got some fleece back, through the body and up into the chest area. So,
and built-in knee pads, are these removable, or are they constructed in?
They are removable, yes.
Okay.
Yes. And it's one of those things when you're brushing blinds and you're putting together decoys, and those knee pads are really great. So
Oh yeah,
I've
totally.
certainly come to appreciate those.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Any other features that are interesting about this pant?
It's fully featured. So in terms of, I've got, again, pockets. So a lot of times I'm hunting in bibs. I might not have my jacket on. I'm working, I'm setting decoys, but I still have all the pockets I need during that activity. Once I get in my blind, then I'm starting to add my shell. But during that decoy set, I'm wearing just bibs when it's cooler.
Gotcha.
So it has those cargo style pockets. I can easily put my, my hat, my neck gaiter, my gloves in those pockets.
And we talked earlier about your early to mid-season choices of pants. What time of the year or conditions are you going to switch over to a heavier built system like this?
I am able to wear a Hudson in a field scenario most of the season when I start hunting in the field. So like earlier season, I might be hunting water, but because I'm able to have these full side zips, I can zip them down and vent. But a lot of times when you're talking about that early season, it's wet, it's muddy, and so this gives me protection. But as long as it's not really hot, I can still stay comfortable with this. We talked about field, we talked about sort of that system. Similar system that I might build out for water is going to include a lot of those pieces, but certainly we need our waders. So
Absolutely.
The waders have been just tremendous in terms of durability and performance. The sizing is a little different. So as people are like, well, what size do I get? We followed our SITKA sizing. So if you're wearing a size large in SITKA bibs, you're going to wear a large wader. The difference though is we have some tall and some short inseams to really tailor that fit. We recognize that waders should fit well. We've built them so that when you have waders on, I don't have to build them extremely oversized. I can get my layering in, but I'm really able to move comfortably and have a great experience while wearing waders. In terms of the features, I've got an adjustment system that has no buckles that would be in the way of a shotgun butt. I've got a YKK Aqua Seal zipper. I can come, makes it easier to put on and off, but also for relief in the field. It just gives you convenience and access. And then there's some storage pockets up top. So what I get is places to store some your phone and stuff. These are water resistant. Certainly don't expect you to go overboard and protect your phone. The real driver. This is a 4-layer Gore-Tex laminate package, extremely durable, extremely breathable, and just it's able to be repaired. So if you look at the inside, I can find pinholes, I can make my patches. These all come with a field repair kit,
Awesome.
and we fully stand behind them for manufacturer's defects.
Well, that's great.
The other piece that's really exciting. Full service. Anything on here that fails, we can replace. And the most critical component of a wader is the boot in terms of things that wear. Boots can be removed, new boots can be put on, and you get to keep your waders in the field longer. So our goal is that you don't have to throw away waders like in days of the past.
So let's talk a little bit about accessories, gloves, neck gaiters, hats.
Yeah.
Where do you go to there?
Yeah, so I always like to think, what is it I have to have in my pack, in my truck, ready to hunt on almost any hunt? I have 3 pieces that I'll talk about that live in my pack. I will have one of these in my pack all the time.
Okay.
And that is a gunner glove. I may go with other gloves for different purposes, but a gunner glove is exceptional for shooting. It's exceptional for brushing in blinds and gives me just enough protection from the cold. It is a wind stopper package. It is a goatskin leather. The finger is super pliable, and just the ability to have a great fitting glove breaks in and becomes your old friend. It's a super comfortable glove, very familiar. So gunner gloves for sure. For fall 22, this will be our Jetstream beanie. Okay, replaces the Dakota beanie, but certainly familiar product in the Jetstream. Same product, basically evolving into one style. It has stretch to it. It's wind stopper. I get great protection. It also works really well, stays in place, and I'm able to have a hood over top or manage. But certainly in my pack, it's small and easy to carry. And then it seems like the fan favorite.
Oh yeah.
Right. And I it's hard to believe how popular, as I talk to people, you're like, what's your favorite piece? And the neck gaiter. I mean, it comes up more times than not. And it is really, great to have to add to your system. When you're cold and you put on this neck gaiter, it just seems to make things better. So.
Oh yeah, it's warm, it's comfortable. That hits all the bases right there.
Yeah, and it just packs well, so it just stays in the pack. So when I think about how I'm accessorizing, really important to have those things because they can be the difference between comfortable or not. So
absolutely. Hey Jim, thank you for walking us through a kit building system for the Waterfowl line. Let us know how you've built your kits in the past. Let us know what you do early, mid to late season, if something's worked better for you than not. We'd love to hear it. If you have any questions, comment below. We'll get back to you. Jim, thank you.
Absolutely.